enter the stars. And what, may you ask, is the difference between a sheep and a goat? Well, I think Mark from Friends in Truth YouTube channel and myself, with the help of the Holy Spirit, has figured out what the difference between a sheep and a goat is. And that is that natural pulling, which is the removal of horns through natural causes, happens equally in goats, but not in sheep. And that is the difference between a sheep and a goat. In other words, a sheep has the option of not having natural dehorning occur, whereas with a goat it occurs equally in both sexes. Now this is where things get interesting, and you're not going to learn any of this in a church or from a pastor or from a doctrine, because they don't want you to know the deeper meanings and deeper secrets of God, because they want to be the middleman. They want to be the middleman. Now, what they found is that with goats, when they tried to remove their horns, they turned into hermaphrodites. In other words, they had both sexes. And now you know why the Baphomet has both sexes. Now this goes far deeper, because Azazel was the scapegoat named in the Bible. Yes, the word for scapegoat is Azazel in Hebrew. This is right there in the text. Why would they sacrifice goats to Azazel? Because this animal was removed or cast out into the wilderness, just like Azazel, the fallen angel, was cast out of heaven. It was so unclean, it was cast out. Now Mark and I looked all this up, and the Holy Spirit was running, and all of this was to us as we begin to talk about and reflect on all this stuff. Now here's where things get interesting, because we talked about the cross section of the brain, as you see here on the right hand side. And we compared this to the verse in Revelation that talked about 7 horns and 7 eyes of the sheep. And we found the 7 horns and 7 eyes of the sheep in the cross section of the brain. And we did a side by side, as you can see here, the Passover lamb of the optic chiasm. Even though this lamb has 7 horns, the Baphomet, when his horns are removed, becomes a hermaphrodite, sharing both sexes. So what we're left with is horns and no horns. Horns representing evil. Now what Mark and I also talked about was the shofar. The horn that is blown to signify victory and celebration in the Bible and judgment. The horns were blown to bring down the walls of Jericho. And as you guys have heard on this channel, we've talked about the resonant frequency of God, and that He has breathed into all life. Breathe signifying some kind of setting of vibration, of a tone into all life, and that life is vibration and resonance, things vibrating at different speeds and levels. When you send vibrations through a medium like sand, it will self-organize into geometric patterns, defying any logic. No one can explain why this happens. And I believe that somatics is the mechanism by which God creates life, which means that the very structure and fabric of our reality, the very makeup of objects, solids, liquids, gases, how it's all held together in its forms, matter. It is all created through this sound that God is consistently sending out, which is why we need him. He is creation, and it's ongoing. It's an active process. And so when we look at the shofar, something amazing reveals itself. That the shofar looks like the Hallowed Canal going back to heaven. It looks like the narrow gate connecting us back to God. It is us talking back to God through the material horns, as God is speaking down to us from the heavenly horn and arranging all life on this planet. Take care and be safe, you guys.
Man, these guys are flying. French cycling is a lot like French driving. There's very tight tolerances. See, this road's no bigger than about 12 feet across, and this is a 2-lane road, so trying to figure out where the start of this race and where the end of it is. Like, I think they come into this town and do like 11 laps, so I think they're probably about halfway through it, and basically they keep going laps till the last lap. I'm sure I'll hear it, but I don't understand a word they're saying. So, but this is Polly Normandy, comes right in front of the farmhouse here. If you can hear my voice over this announcer, they've wired all these light poles, as you can see here, with speakers, so that you can see it. And the announcer for the Tour de France lives in this town, so this town's kind of like world renowned or whatever for the announcer of the Tour de France who lives here. And it's got this whole thing barricaded. I can't even get out, as you can see here. Not getting out of here till 6 p.m. tonight. So we wait. See if we can figure out where the start of this race is. The leaders, and I think the caravan of vehicles, that's the end, that's the back end of the pack. And the front end of the pack, they got like some lead cars, but it's always hard to know if someone's been lapped. They probably designed the course so people can't really get lapped too easily. It takes them probably 20 minutes to get around the track, so we'll keep watching.